Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are opening up a file that, well, it should probably be required reading for anyone who has ever tried to build a sustained creative presence online. We received a really detailed stack of sources from a creator wrestling with that classic YouTube dilemma. Burnout, years of content pivots, and a genuine question about legacy.
Yeah.
Specifically, does their original channel name, XEI Gaming, still have any value after all these years of, experimental rebrands?
And that is precisely our mission today. We're not just looking at marketing here. This is a deep dive into digital brand equity.
Right.
It's where the goodwill, the recognition, and the loyalty a community built for you just collides head-on with algorithmic reality.
What the system thinks you are based on your last 3 weeks of uploads.
Exactly. And we're going to unpack why returning to that original, maybe a little dusty name, XEI Gaming, might actually be the most intelligent, protective move they can make.
Okay, let's establish the history quickly because it is a bit of a roller coaster. This creator's legacy, it started with XEI Gaming.
Right.
Before 2021, they were known for these thoughtful, role-play-heavy Let's Plays, LPs, and it gathered a solid base of maybe 2,000 to 3,000 loyal subscribers.
And that original name, XEI, it was really meaningful to them. It was rooted in the motto, explore, engage, inspire.
Yeah, it spoke to their whole passion for story-focused RPGs.
But then, the content machine took over.
Exactly. Then came the pivots, chasing variety and growth. XEI Protocol, XEI Infinite Lives, XEI Outpost.
Pushing reactions, manga reads, just everything under the sun.
They did grow, creeping past 4,000 subs, but now the creator is just completely directionless and exhausted by the constant resets.
And we found the immediate, almost undeniable answer to the name question by looking outside their dashboard.
Oh, interesting.
The name XEI Gaming still holds clear, non-negotiable value. It is the anchor for their entire digital identity. Stat sites and indexing platforms, they still list them under XEI Gaming.
And what are the stats?
They note the 4.3K subs, over 3,500 videos, and 1.6 million total views, all under that original name.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The social proof is just, it's overwhelming. Specific Reddit communities, this serious Dragon Age and Mass Effect fandoms.
These real hardcore fans.
They still recommend XEI Gaming, specifically for high-quality, thoughtful, role-play-heavy LP content. People in those threads will explicitly say, oh, they changed their name a bunch, but just search XEI Gaming. They're the ones you want.
And they're also solidified in the influential Let's Play wiki under XEI Gaming with that original motto attached, that accumulated goodwill, that identity. I mean, it takes years to build.
It's worth more than any fresh SEO-optimized start.
Absolutely.
And when we look at why the experimental names didn't stick, you could see they were kind of doomed from the start.
Oh, completely.
Just using XEI alone risks a major SEO collision with the Canadian dividend ETF, iShares XEI.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a financial giant. You can't win that fight.
Right. And Infinite Lives recently became the title of a new MDickie game slated for 2025.
Oh, no.
Which means instant, brutal SEO competition from a whole different segment of the gaming world. They were unintentionally setting themselves up to fail every single time.
So the name pivots were doomed externally. But let's talk about what they were trying to run from internally. It sounds like the identity crisis was much deeper than just a Google search, right?
Precisely.
That brings us to the creator's crisis. Clarity versus consistency.
The core problem was never the label. It was the positioning. Their identity was forged in these deep sequential LPs. When they introduced variety, reactions, reads, broad genre shifts, the core brand promise just dissolved.
So the channel lacked that single cohesive answer to the critical viewer question, why am I here and what happens next week?
And that lack of clarity, it doesn't just confuse the algorithm, it fragments the audience.
You get the new viewers who subbed for some viral reaction clip, while the old guards, the ones who love the Dragon Age analysis, they just quietly stop watching.
That's the classic channel full of ghosts feeling. Your subscriber count looks healthy, 4.3K strong, but the engagement is just abysmal because the audience graph is a complete mess.
We saw data where new Dragon Age content would pull in, what, 20 views?
20 views, despite 4,300 people having clicked the subscribe button at some point. That disparity is just soul-crushing.
I can't even imagine the emotional toll of that. It's not just the production effort leading to burnout. It's the operational and emotional cost of constantly trying to validate a strategy against a system that doesn't even know what you are anymore.
And their history really shows the exhaustion. They went from high-frequency daily uploads in the early years to these painful channel mergers, splits, XEI reacts, XEI animanga.
And then merging back again.
Leading to that feeling the creator noted, the beginning of the end. The constant need to restart and revalidate is a death knell for long-term passion.
This struggle is particularly acute for anyone making long-form serialized content like narrative LPs. The creator observed this pattern they called the degradation equation.
And this is a must-know for anyone doing multi-part projects. The degradation equation states that for long-form sequential content, Episode 1 equals X views.
Okay.
Episode 2 generally drops to around 50% of X. But by the time you hit Episode 10, you're often down to 10% of X or even less.
So if you launch a 100-hour game series, you are grinding for those late-stage episodes that are seen by literally a fraction of the audience who watched the first hour.
Exactly. The viewer retention curve for serialized content is brutal. It means that massive production effort, the custom editing, the commentary, the research, it yields dramatically diminishing returns the deeper you get into a series.
That realization that your best effort is being seen by the fewest people, that is a quantifiable driver of creator burnout.
It makes you want to pivot to anything that promises a higher return on effort.
That makes total painful sense. Now let's look at two specific video performances that show how truly confused the algorithm became by these pivots, because these two videos couldn't be more different.
Let's start with the Borderlands 3 anomaly. This is an old co-op Episode 1 video, ages old, yet it consistently generates impressions.
How many?
It racked up over 10,700 views just in the last year and generated 139 lifetime subscribers.
Wait, if the channel hasn't been about FPS loot shooters for 5 years, why does YouTube keep pushing this ancient content?
It's an evergreen search winner, but not a browse winner. Over 54% of its traffic comes directly from YouTube search.
Okay.
It successfully answers a hyper-specific user query, something like Borderlands 3 first-time co-op is FL4K, and its click-through rate is high enough, about 18%, to keep it highly ranked in that low-competition niche.
So the algorithm sees it as a useful search result, totally independent of the channel's current brand identity.
Precisely. It's a stable source of traffic, but it doesn't confirm the channel's identity as an RPG specialist. It just means the creator hit a very niche search term that nobody else is satisfying.
So why didn't they just lean into that niche then? Why fight that reliable success?
Because that wouldn't solve the core identity problem. A search winner delivers traffic, but it doesn't define the community or the conversation the creator wants to have.
It's revenue without fulfillment.
Exactly.
Now contrast that with the hyper-fandom success, the Genshin shock.
This was the complete opposite, Episode 1. It saw a massive sudden spike, 15.4K views, over 220K impressions.
Wow.
And converted a huge 253 subscribers in just 75 days.
That sounds like algorithmic nirvana. Why did that feel like a shock?
Because it was a browse-driven banger, over 52% of its traffic came from Browse Features homepage, suggested videos.
Wow.
It temporarily reshaped the channel's audience graph, flooding it with Genshin-only subscribers. The creator felt entirely hijacked.
They lost control of their own channel's direction. Wow, so they privated the entire 20-episode series after 75 days. That's a declaration of war against your own algorithm. That decision must have been brutal.
It was an act of self-preservation. They essentially killed the series permanently to protect their long-term identity. They chose self-definition and sanity over maximizing algorithmic success.
And they're still dealing with the fallout. They tried returning to a legacy pillar, Dragon Age, but even the upcoming Dragon Age. Veilguard is controversial now.
So the IP itself is fractured.
It's no longer the safe anchor it once was. The audience is splintered, which makes the recovery even harder.
So the solution can't be forcing everything into one bucket, and it can't be impulsive name changes. It has to be a system that accepts the creator's multi-passionate nature.
The fact that their interests move in epochs, as they put it.
Exactly.
That leads us to Section 3, the sustainable solution, which is built on pillars, projects, and collabs. The strategy needs strategic fragmentation.
Absolutely. The goal is to return to the core XEI Gaming name as the stable home base, but organize the content into clear thematic shelves. 3 evergreen pillars areas. The creator will always cycle back to back by tactical project channels for high-risk, niche content.
Okay, let's lay out the pillars. First, the home base, XEI Gaming.
That's for the interactive story worlds, the Dragon Age, Mass Effect, the big RPGs.
Then second, XEI Reacts. That houses the Watch Listen Together content, so anime reactions, and third, XEI Reads.
Which is dedicated to books, manga, and reading vlogs.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the key organizational idea is how to treat those massive hyper-niche commitments, like a 200-plus episode narrative audio series like the Magnus Archives.
Right, something that could hijack the channel again.
Exactly. Instead of putting it on the main Reacts channel, you put it on a dedicated finite project channel, for example, XEI Magnus Delve.
But why risk creating yet another channel after all the fragmentation trauma? Doesn't that just invite the dark limbo problem of starting from 0 subs?
That's the beauty of this structure. The rationale is that the project channel creates a clean, intentional bubble. If the creator burns out on Magnus at episode 80,
Which could happen.
only the Magnus Delve audience is disappointed. And the channel can just go dormant without poisoning the algorithm or confusing the brand identity for the 3 stable pillars. It localizes the audience disappointment and prevents the channel hijack.
So it turns a potential systemic failure into a localized, anticipated pause. I get that. But how do they get people to subscribe to this new project channel without starting from scratch?
This is where the logistics finally catch up with the strategy. The viability of this project channel model is immensely increased by a new YouTube feature, the Collaborator Subscribe pop-up.
Okay, tell us how that pop-up fundamentally changes things, because this sounds like it solves that dark limbo problem they had before.
It's a total game changer. Previously, if XEI Reacts mentioned, go subscribe to our new Magnus channel, that was a soft, unreliable ask.
Right, you'd lose 90% of people right there.
Now, by using the Collaborator feature, the evergreen pillar channels, Gaming, Reacts, Reads, can feature the project channel as a legitimate collaboration partner. When a viewer is watching an announcement video on XEI Reacts, a clear, persistent banner or pop-up appears, urging them to subscribe to XEI Magnus Delve.
It's an automated, verified, platform-supported funnel.
Exactly. It provides a direct conversion gateway that bypasses the start from 0 challenge and legitimizes the niche channel immediately. It allows them to protect their identity and leverage their existing audience without confusing them.
The final summary of the creator's goal, then. It shifts entirely. It's no longer about chasing the growth meta, but creating a system where the conversation is the focus. It means concentrating effort.
Yeah.
One person, one voice, clear thematic shelves, and avoiding that previous pattern of impulsive resets and content nukes, all while respecting the creator's finite energy at 48 years old.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, for any established creators with a long content history, the most self-destructive move is trying to cram every single interest into one channel just to appease the algorithm.
Yeah.
The sustainable solution often lies in strategic fragmentation, setting up specialized, manageable shelves to protect the stable identity of the home base.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner? This whole journey raises a fundamental question about content strategy. When does the pursuit of algorithmic efficiency, that relentless pressure to be a single niche thing, become so exhausting that it kills the actual reason you started sharing content in the first place?
When does the grind outweigh the joy of the conversation?
Exactly.
And this raises another important question. If you were creating content purely for the joy of conversation, not for growth, what single metric beyond the standard subscribers or views would you track to determine if your channel was genuinely successful?
Is it the quality of the comments? Is it the return rate of your 100 most loyal viewers?
Something else entirely.
And finally, consider your own degradation equation. And not just for content, but for any long-term project you pursue, professional or personal. If the effort required vastly outweighs the emotional or professional return, is that project still sustainable?
Or are you just digging a deeper trench of burnout?
That's what we'll leave you with for today's deep dive.